The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening, I'm Maggie Forciero. In the news tonight, public officials need training to deliver better services, says Ombudsman. Police need more information regarding murdered cop. 99 FM breakfast show hosts launch charity drive. Teachers sets up garden to support family. And Roundup Business on One, comments corners, sports and the weather. At a media briefing, Ombudsman Basilius Dakua emphasized that underperforming ministries, municipalities and other public offices that are frequently in the spotlight due to poor service delivery should be capacitated through training to improve service delivery to the public.
The abuse of human rights, poor service delivery and underperformance by public officials remains a critical challenge for Namibia's government. To address these many challenges confronting the public sector, the Ombudsman stated that he will work with all ministries to enable them to improve service delivery in accordance with their enabling legislations, adding that if public offices such as municipalities can improve their services, people will be less likely to protest against them.
Going to the ministries and engage them one-on-one, because we have realized that they misunderstand our role. They think we are there to naming them and blaming them and shaming them. But actually we are there to let them know that we are just going to assist you to improve your service delivery. And in that way the people will be happy. And those most of them who are in the public sector, once particularly the municipalities, if they improve their service deliveries, citizens will not have any complaints or frustrations. Come elections, they will still be happy to go and vote for them. But if that is not the case, then you will always see the issue of demonstrations and frustrations, and because the service is so poor. So that's where we come in and assist this service provider.
The Ombudsman's mandate, which includes investigating complaints about violations of fundamental rights and freedoms, as well as the administration of all government organs, goes beyond the public sector and also includes parastatals and private institutions that provide government services and goods to the general public, according to the Ombudsman.
We also have the mandate to investigate those private entities. I can give you an example, like these REDs, the NORED, the Central Electricity Board, or whatever you want to call them. Those people, they are providing services which are supposed to be provided by the government. So in one way or another, if we found that they are not providing the services to the satisfaction of the public, we have the mandate to investigate them.
Among the many government entities that got the most complaints from the public were NAMPOL, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and the Ministry of Education. NAMPOL topped the list with 493 complaints, followed by the Ministry of Justice with 228 complaints, Namibian Correctional Services with 178, Ministry of Home Affairs with 137, and the Ministry of Education with 82, according to the Ombudsman report.
Goes
down smoothly. Tafel Lager, Namibian like you.
Joseph Parkman was in and out of prison, dealing and doing drugs. Then a drug deal went wrong. Joseph was robbed, handcuffed, and scared straight out of the business. For 6 months, he roamed the streets as a homeless addict. Then one night, in a baseball dugout, Joseph met a stranger who totally changed his life.
I stand in awe of the power of the God who's our creator. And Terry and I sit here on this program, and the Lord speaks to us, and it's the word of knowledge. It's one of the manifestations of the Holy Spirit.
Something not always godly.
Not always, that's right. That's right. Well, there's a lot of negative voices out there, as we know.
Yes, there are.
And
so how do you know when it's God saying, Perry, I want to speak this to you right now?
And sometimes you don't know. And I think you pray over it, and you think about it, and sometimes you just, a lot of times I'll just envision, as you and I are talking here today, I may envision that I'm here talking with God, and how am I supposed to address this issue?
Okay? Realize Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same for you right now. So let's pray. Let's call on his name and let him do the rest for you. Let's pray.
Only 2 sources came forward with information related to the murder of Constable Talamangela Pietrus, says Nampol's head of public relations subdivision, Chief Inspector Eliphas Luinga. That information, however, is insufficient, he remarked. Nampol is therefore requesting for more people with correct information to contact the investigating police officers.
Until someone shares hardcore details with Nampol, the murder of Constable Talamangela Pietrus will remain a mystery, says Chief Inspector Luinga.
Any member of the public with information, crucial information that will help arrest this suspect or suspects. We are asking public members continue to give more information that will help us in making sure that this case is handled and closed.
Since the announcement of a 20,000 Namibia dollar reward for information related to the mysterious murder of Constable Pietrus, only 2 sources contacted the investigating officers. The details, according to Chief Inspector Luinga, aren't strong enough. Crimes of that particular nature, he says, are uncommon in Mariental. It therefore boggles his mind as to what might have led to that.
If we talk about Mariental, it's very rare that we see this type of crimes committed. As few it might be, but important part is that a person's life in the process has been lost.
In a recent interview with Nampol's Commissioner, Kauna Shikwambi, she shared her remembrance of the late constable. She said it was disheartening how very little information regarding his mysterious death is forthcoming.
It's really disheartening that the investigation so far is not yielding any full results. We are not ceasing with the investigation. It continues, and we really want the public to assist us in this regard.
The 20,000 Namibia dollar reward still stands, and anyone with information related to the murder of Constable Talamangela Pietrus is encouraged to contact Inspector Gert Boys at 081-259-8664 or the Head of Crime Investigations, Eric Clay, at 081-129-8473.
At Spar, we worked hard to get you low prices on great products every day. Like Huggies Nappy Pads, Jumbo Pack for only $174.99 and Colgate Original Toothpaste for just $13.99. It's low prices for you every day at Spar.
God said, it's interesting to see if we have a look at John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In other words, what I see drives me to go out what I say. And I believe this is the goal of our Bible school, to teach me to see. And I dare to say what you see must change your heart. Because you cannot move out if you don't have a changed heart. By the word of God, everything is created. God wants you to speak the word so that things can be created. Say to your neighbor, created.
We can't wait to be together again. But until then, let's stay safe.
Facebo and Mo in the Morning on 99 FM have recently embarked on a charity drive to assist the Orlindi Orphanage in Karatura that relies totally on donations from Good Samaritans.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
So what we're doing now is we're calling on you to help us in this plight of helping the orphanage home. They have 10 babies right now, and what they need most desperately is nappies and diapers. And in terms of nappies are diapers. Nappies,
I was going to say
diapers, milk. Sorry.
Do you?
So they're in desperate need of nappies and formula milk. So in terms of formula milk, we ask them which kind is Infacare 1 and 2 is fine, or any other that can help is fine. In terms of sizes for the nappies is small, medium, and large. That's 2, 3, and 4. So if you can just really help the orphanage homes, because they are completely dependent upon donations.
The Orlindi Orphanage, also known as a place of safety, is in dire need of donations of any kind to feed, clothe, and accommodate orphan children.
For us, this plight, when we found out that it's just being maintained out of donations, and there really is no longevity in terms of sustenance.
Sustainability, and really just making sure that, it goes far beyond than just raising the kids, also just looking at, especially the older kids also, they're in school, what next? The whole process. I mean, Sibu and I, we're finding out a lot about the process regarding, and it's interesting.
It's not easy fleet raising kids. Now imagine raising
10 babies and then teenagers and then just those.
And the needs that is there. It's not just crazy, diapers and formula, and we know they go through them like nobody's business. But food and all around well-being, mind, body, and spirit.
And this is the formative years of any human being.
Exactly.
So it's so important.
And the unfortunate thing is, because they are completely dependent upon donations, the money doesn't come in as much
regularly.
Which means
there's risk of water utilities being cut,
which has happened actually.
Which has happened before. They are currently also at the risk of losing their water on account of a high utility bill. Again, donations, that is exactly what they are. They're donations. They are unfortunately unreliable. They come, they go. They're not. You can't really plan for them, and because that's what they live off mostly. All the time. That is something that you can consider also.
The duo further urges those with skills in handiwork to come on board and share their expertise in assisting the orphanage.
This has really been an eye-opening experience for me, and again, we call upon each and every one of you guys. Look, let's do what we can. Let's hold hands, do what we can. It's not only limited to Orlindi. But we are calling for Orlindi because we're kind of sort of here. But
that's number one. And secondly, this is not just in monetary terms. We're talking skills. We saw the playground. the playground needs refurbishing.
Garden.
They have a garden because they want to be able to grow their own food and sustain themselves in that field. So even that, if you have any other ideas on what they can do for themselves, you want to come volunteer your time. If you want to mentor, goodness, you know, like I said, it's a mind, body,
all the kids,
and all the way through.
Like this is every day.
That is needed.
This is every day, every lunchtime when the older kids come from school, the little ones are here, they need to eat, and this is an everyday thing. Sustaining that is what we're trying to address, the plight that we're trying to bring to you guys. Electricity, water, washing, food, washing clothes. Detergent,
even
guys.
Clothes, bring your clothes that are still in good condition, please. Let's just not be like, it's old clothes.
Can I take off your clothes? I want to keep your clothes.
Those who would like to assist can get in touch with Sibo and Mo at sibo@99fm.com.na, Morris at 99fm.com.na, or drop-offs can be made at 99FM Studios.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Based in the Zambezi region in Bukalo area, a teacher by profession, Andrew Inambao, has set up a horticulture garden in his village as a means to support his family.
In 2020 last year, Inambao, being the only employed person in his family at the time, was obligated to look for another way to support himself and his family, and thus started the garden at the village. Last year, Inambao struggled to draw water from an old borehole, but has since drilled a new borehole to make irrigation more easy.
A teacher by profession, as well as a farmer into horticulture. Right, I'm found within the area of Silombe, within the Katima rural constituency. It is about 40 kilometers from Katima Mulilo Township along the Muyako-Krevo Road.
Inambao also makes use of a solar panel, which allows him to expand his garden and start selling his produce to villagers. There's an assortment of horticultural products in his garden, such as tomatoes, cabbages, and spinach. He also farms with small livestock, which includes pigs and goats.
Joined into the agriculture farming business. Actually, I may say this was last year when I started. But now, due to the lookout of things, early this year, January, it's when I involved myself fully into the farming activities, despite a number of few challenges that I was facing behind, which is the most one of it was the issue of water.
Additional support has also been made available to him by the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Forestry through a subsidy that has helped him to purchase a new water tank and drip irrigation system.
Growing together means that nobody is left behind.
Supporting each other regardless of our unique destinations.
Het is belangrijk om samen te werken, om nieuwe hoogtes te bereiken, wat je niet op je eigen kan doen nie.
When we grow together, I expect to see a future where all those dreams that everybody that has been attaining to reach have been fulfilled.
I see a future filled with endless possibilities.
And who I want to share this future with is my family, my friends, my loved ones,
my significant other, my teammate and my partner in life.
The people that are pushing me today, right now.
Buy shares in the initial public offering of MTC. It is a future worth investing in. MTC, make the connection.
I heard
this morning, woke up holding my head, hearing my heartbeat all night long. Shades of this motel keeping me in bed, and reading the news, just trying to stay strong. I need to just get up, take a deep breath, keep it together, 'cause it's a beautiful day. Sun on my face, feeling okay. Don't let it get away. It's a beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day.
In other leading stories, earlier this year, the Capricorn Foundation, a supporter of the Harambee Prosperity Plan 2, and Lithium Foundation presented an informative online capacity building workshop for NGOs discussing the ever-changing environment of non-profit organizations in Namibia, where they focused on the need for welfare organizations to rethink their strategies to ensure their future sustainability and growth and raise funds for their critical work in the communities. This week, these two foundations hosted another event taking on a different approach to bring together like-minded companies and share on how companies can be responsible corporate citizens by bringing about positive change where it matters the most. The event, titled Get Involved in Your Community, took place in the form of an insightful breakfast exploring the NGO landscape in Namibia, the needs in our communities, Namibia's social progression focus, and how companies can fulfill their role as corporate citizens. On top of the different speakers from various welfare organizations presenting their projects and objectives, a panel of experts from multiple organizations addressed the crowd, discussing specific problems in the field, including sustainability, and answered questions. The event concluded with a look at how companies can make an impact and measure their impact in their communities. And Namibia Wildlife Resorts Limited and the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism have further cemented their long-standing relationship with the installation of new electricity meters, conventional and prepaid, within the Etosha National Park. Later, the same work will be undertaken in the Waterberg Plateau, Van Bach and Danville National Parks. The first phase, which was to realize the electrical work within the Etosha National Park, commenced in June 2021 and was finalized in August this year. MEFD and NWR contracted Central North Regional Electricity Distributor Cenered to do the work. Mr. Theophilus Ntila, MEFD Executive Director, says the metering project within the Etosha National Park cost the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism over $2 million Namibia dollars.
Get ready to enjoy Simba's Sounds of Flavor.
All Simba flavors. Let's roll. Guys, smoke beef. Kwanga finiga. Shaya chocolate. Shakita mud.
Together we roar because Simba roars with flavor.
We can't wait to get the whole gang together. But until then, let's stay safe.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for this evening's edition of Business on One.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. I'm your host, Joseph Shifeni.
The governor of the central bank, Johannes Kavahab, says a successful vaccination rollout is key toward the recovery of the economy. The governor has at several occasions alluded to the fact that an increase in vaccinations for COVID-19 will lead to a normalcy and an increase in activities for the domestic economy.
Key risks to the global economic outlook include the future course of the pandemic, the degree of success in the deployment of COVID-19 vaccines, as well as vaccine hesitancy, particularly in the emerging markets and developing economies. Higher inflation emerged following pandemic-induced supply-demand mismatches, which are expected to continue for a longer period than anticipated.
During the stakeholder meeting that took place in Keetmanshoop on the 7th of October and recently this week during the monetary policy statement, Johannes Kavahab pointed out that the delay or refusal to take the COVID-19 vaccination places the country's economy at risk. Kavahab laid out the impact a successful vaccination rollout can have on the country's economy.
The challenges that we are facing in the economy, whether it's employment, whether it's inequality, whether it's poverty, we need to get economic to recover. For the economy to recover, we need to get a number of people in the country get vaccinated. If we don't do that, it's going to be very difficult to open up the economy. I've told you about the risk. Unless we get to some community immunity with vaccinations, we have got the potential of another restrictions, whether those are travel, those are tourists. The tourists who want to come to countries are looking at the number of people that are vaccinated in those countries.
Kavahab says the only way the domestic economy will recover is to take vaccination seriously, adding that if people hesitate to take vaccinations, the tourism and business sectors won't operate to their full extent, which will result in the continued suffering of the economy.
And thank you for watching. Join me again next time, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Remember the mission, yeah, revisualize the vision, connect to the journey, stir early, step one, step two, next step, we start at the beginning of what I'm feeling, the future we believe in, let's start dreaming, NAMIBIA, no matter what they say, we here to stay, so find believers just like you, hand in hand, this is what we do. More steps, yeah, we get through, let's go. Start again, you can. You connected to the world, yeah, we stand. Determined to move on hand in hand. Put the switch on, a new reform, let's rise. Together we rise. MTC, make the connection.
Man, you've got to be anything, he should be everything. Strength provider, the architect of every ring. Experience penny years, see the face of God and live. I pray to God for my enemy. Why you lady, why you baby, why baby? Insta baby, Insta baby, Insta baby. Why you lying? Everybody shake what your mama gave ya. Everybody move what your mama gave ya. Everybody shake what your mama gave ya. Everybody move, yeah, lost, fuck.
watching the B10 Countdown.
Are you a CMAS member? Did you know that should you need medical treatment, you have access to quality private hospitalization, guaranteed specialist treatment in private hospitals across Namibia with Complement Gap. Complement Gap is a complimentary product for CMAS members only, which covers the shortfall between what CMAS pays and private hospitals charge. You and your family have more than 2 million in medical gap cover per year at a very affordable price. That's not all. You also have access to emergency evacuation within Namibia and $10 million international travel cover for those unforeseen events abroad. Take the financial burden off your shoulders. Invest in your family's health. SMS GAP to 999 555 and we'll contact you. Terms and conditions apply.
This is my favorite gear, because it speaks for me and all my brothers. Nivea Men Black and White Deo. With 5 times Deo action to protect you and your favorite gear from stains. Try Nivea's #1 anti-stain deodorant. Nivea Men, it starts with you.
Oranjemund, established in 1936, from which point onwards CDM, now Namdeb Diamond Corporation, provided every service, the schooling, infrastructure and entertainment required for the people of the town. The winds of change is blowing over Oranjemund, which is no longer a closed town.
This ship was commandeered by King Charles III, and he actually sent a knight to Spain to go and fetch some money from investors, because they wanted to go and fetch some spices in India.
When we were kids, the mine delivered milk, bread, and black paper, black plastic bags for your rubbish, and cleaned your garden, did the maintenance of your house. You had furniture already installed in your house.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. The leadership of the Landless People's Movement claims that Windhoek is the ancestral territory of the Damara, Herero and Afrikaner people, making them entitled to the land in and around the city. This comes after a letter surfaced on social media of LPM Windhoek City Councillor Shade Governors purportedly requesting for land 9 days after taking office. Hans Rudolph says it's very sad that the opposition fight each other instead of looking at ways to work together for the betterment of the citizens. Jobs says it's cheap politics, calling for delivery on promises. Sophia notes that this is the reason why the country won't get out of the mess it's in, as political parties are just monitoring each other's mistakes. Amusamane says the AR has failed to deliver land and now wants to tarnish the name of Shade Governors, asking why Job did not respond to the letter. While Mekonja notes that the Namibian constitution remains silent on the issue of ancestral land. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast only on Today on One.
At Spar, we've worked hard to get you low prices on great products every day. Like Nola mayonnaise for just $25.99 and Dawn lotion or cream. Buy any 2 for only $33. It's low prices for you every day at Spar.
Hi there parents. Do you have primary school kids and want them to get extra quality supplementary lessons to up their grades? Then simply switch to One Africa TV's #LearnOnOne, where your kids can get maths, English and science lessons every weekday from 9 to 11 a.m. with repeats from 2 to 4 p.m. And thanks to Animators My Zone, these lessons are 100% Namibian. There's so much to learn with #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Time now for today's sports update with Castro Ulumbu.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm your host, Castro Ulumbu. As the Special Unified Cup 2022 draws closer, Special Olympics Namibia recently hosted national games in the capital Windhoek in order to identify and select teams that will represent the country at the 2022 Special Unified Cup set for Detroit, United States of America, as well as the 2023 Special Summer Olympic Games in Berlin, Germany. Today on One Sports has more on this story. Speaking to Today on One Sports at the recent national games, President of Special Olympics Africa Charles Nyambe highlighted the importance of hosting the national games for people with special disabilities, as well as some challenges faced whilst hosting the games.
The importance of this event is that, first and foremost, though we are advancing athletes from this event, and though advancement is very important, what is more important is participation, having athletes participate at local competition. As you know, people with intellectual disabilities are mostly, sidelined. They are isolated. In most cases, they're at home. They don't find a place where they participate. The reason for Special Olympics is to give them activities, to give them sport activities, so that they develop confidence that they need. Now, with the pandemic, it became worse. In order for us to ensure that we bring athletes out of this isolation again, that is the reason, we are encouraging all regions and nations to take part in local competitions. Competition is the reason athletes sign up to be in Special Olympics. When we look at the challenges of events such as this right now, the major challenge is just ensuring that we follow the protocols of COVID-19 to make sure that we keep the athletes safe, because it is scientifically, it has been proven that people with intellectual disabilities are 4-6 times more likely to get infected when they get exposed to COVID-19.
Less than 10 months before Detroit hosts the 2022 Special Olympics Unified Cup and a year before Berlin hosts the Summer Special Olympics, the Namibia Special Olympics recently hosted its national games in order to identify talent to represent the country at the World Games.
These are what you call the national games, and they're called the National Advancement Games because at these games, they're not just ordinary national games. These games will determine a team that will be advanced to World Games or to national teams. There's 2 teams. There's a football team that will be selected from this event, a female and a male football team to Germany. This will be a 7-a-side male team, female team, and the 11-a-side male team, female team 7-a-side. And then a basketball team, a normal basketball team, which is a mixed gender basketball team that will be selected, 1 team for Germany. But they will also have games where they've selected cycling athletes, and also track and field athletes will be selected from another event. I don't want to miss this. It's also so important. Though we have challenges, we also have successes. The biggest success is that we have sponsors. NamPower has been our biggest supporter of Special Olympics of people with disabilities in Namibia. And they've gone with us for a very, very long time. And we just want to be very thankful of NamPower for the support they've provided, financial support they've provided. Today, in these days, you rarely find people that can give money and say, here's money that you can use for to advance what you are trying to advance. So we want to say thank you to NAMPA, and thank you to the MBA Fund, and also thank you to the government that are also giving funding towards this event.
The event saw 3 different regions compete, which are Komas, Irongo, and Oshana regions in 7-a-side football. According to the Special Olympics, basketball and cycling will only be represented by Komas region, as other regions do not have the 2 sport codes. The final teams to represent the country at these world events will be revealed once finalized. And that is all we have for you tonight. Join us again next week for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Thanks a lot, Castro. Time now for the weather forecast. A look at the weather forecast. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and warm in the Klaras region, but hot in the Zambezi and Kavango regions with a few showers, elsewhere sunny and warm to hot. Fresh to strong winds are expected over the interior. The coast partly cloudy and mild with fog patches in the morning. A few showers are expected in the extreme south. The wind moderate to fresh southwesterly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond. We have come to the end of this evening's edition of Today on One. You can join us again for a repeat at 9:30 and the Omnibus tomorrow from 9 to 2. From me, Maggie Forciero, and the rest of the team, till next time, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
And welcome to the She Word, the show where we discuss trending topics amongst women across Africa. Girl, 7 years old. Do you know why you're here?
In 1997, I was filmed by an American news crew at the place I was being held. A shrine run by a priest dedicated to the worship of deities. I was labeled a Trukoshi, a wife of the gods, paying for a crime committed by a family member.
Okay. The purpose of sharing my story was to say, you know, you may have gone through something, a traumatic experience. You are still able to have life. You have life. You can live life. You can contribute to society, and that's what it should be about. It's not more. It's not really about like victimizing or because I honestly don't like watching it.
I like rhinos. I like them very much. Future here in this area is depending on the tourism. The future generation, they can see and they can benefit from their own resources. Animals like rhinos, elephants, the big five, you benefit from them and it must be respected. What You are not feeding the rhinos, you are not giving them order, so it's a free business.
Cut it off.
I take two of my sons, which was little bit 5 years old. They were young guys. So they asked me questions. Why are we here? Why are we sleeping here? I told them this is our resources and this is our future.
My first memory of going with my dad is that I learned new things. As I grow up as a man, I see an opportunity in it. So I decided to look for a job pertaining tourism. So that's when I was employed at Palembang. So I decided to go for tour guide studies. Because I grew up with the tourism industry, the wildlife, the rhinos and everything, to bring that experience to the tourists. You can see the hyena. The biggest change is I was employed, getting paid, and also I can now support my family.
It's a cultural thing. It's coming a long way. Even if you go to area like Treverfontein, area was a lot of paintings. You will see rhino engravings on the rocks. That is an indication that the interaction between human, especially the local communities and wildlife, is dating back. That intimacy relationship is coming for a long time. We are right here now at Palembang, and Palembang is one of the big lodges in the heart of the desert. And as you can see, there is Jumbo standing behind me, which shows it's really a tourist area. We do have elephants, lions, but as you can see, the desert is the heart of the rhinos. This is the main breeding area of the rhinos, is what we found here in this desert.
It's the largest free-roaming population of black rhinos that you find outside national parks in the world. It's a population that communities in the northwest have taken responsibility themselves in managing this population with the structures that government has put in place, more specifically the establishment of conservancies.
These people, before independence, they took it upon themselves and decided that wildlife is our heritage, and through history we've been living with wildlife. And having wildlife in your area is like having a garden. Because of all these animals, we've got the communities that benefit from all this wildlife. And it's like a triangle that fits into each other. And the communities looked after the wildlife doing their own thing, and the communities benefit. So already there were this intergenerational relationship between mankind and wildlife, and that bond is what our people actually wanted to see it continuing.
Very few countries have the wildlife that Namibia has. What is also important is the policies that Namibia has put in place, which also involves communities to be engaged in the management of the wildlife species and also to benefit from the wildlife resources.
Turn conservation into a rural economy, turn conservation into endless opportunities that would actually cater for those young people that have nothing else to do. If it was not for rhino economy and tourism in this area, it was really difficult for young people to get or find a job. We are conservation engineers. We make conservation work in an unfenced area, and through that, we want to turn the wildlife into the rural economy that will benefit the rural communities.
So we can see now wildlife is doing very well, the lodges are doing well, and the community is also benefiting. So it takes all three together.
Devastating hit over coronavirus fears. Airline industry is facing its biggest threat to travel since 9/11.
Since March, when COVID-19 hit Namibia, things actually become very difficult. In the first place, all the lodges closed down because of COVID-19. With us, Save the Rhino Trust, we had some donors cutting on their funding. And then we had, in the same time, a poaching case of 2 rhinos that was poaching. We had less boots on the ground, and poachers could actually see. Now it's our chance to go in and do something. So COVID-19 was tough on all of us. Ginger Morning, who is one of our trustees, actually came up with the idea of, why don't we ask you to go to buy some gold for us and make gold bars, and then we sell them for rhino conservation.
I was fortunate enough to have a chance to have lunch with Clive Johnson, the CEO of B2Gold in Vancouver, Canada. And I looked at Clive and I said, we've got rhinos, you've got gold, let's do something. Let's create a coin or a medallion or a bar, using your resource to create a sustainable source of funding for rhino conservation for the future.
There was it. The gold was bought, the bars was made, and I think it was 31st of January that we launched the bars in Windhoek. And suddenly one morning I had an email from my office, from my finance person, saying, these people don't have salaries. So I said, oh, what now? So I picked up my phone and I phoned Mark now. I said, Mark, I've got this problem. He said, but when we've got the fund already ready for you, you just have to apply, put a proposal in.
1,000 ounces of gold can make an enormous difference to the livelihoods of the communities that live up there. We are, in essence, providing income and providing a livelihood to the communities. In the absence of tourism, especially now with COVID-19, even prior to that, when we had such a bad drought, the communities became even more dependent on the natural economy.
The idea is to make this a fund that will last for the next 25, 30 years, or even longer. And a portion of that will be distributed immediately as needed. And in this case, the COVID-19 crisis necessitated us to distribute funds to pay salaries to help people in the field.
The proceeds of the sales from the gold bars will be going towards responsible NGOs. And we've identified Save the Rhino Trust as the key NGO. And IRDNC, one of the first organizations that was in the Northwest, integrated rural development and nature conservation, so that ultimately the funds go to the communities and various aspects of their war on poaching.
To be able to support those hardworking men and women that are always in the front line between the poachers and the rhinos.
If it was not for B2Gold and the golden bars, I think by now we should have been in big trouble.
By extracting the gold, you reinvest it in other renewable resources.
The gold that's coming out from the ground is actually protecting the wildlife that's walking on the ground, which is a very good symbol for the others.
I wish this was my bar. This is the 500 gram gold bar. So you'll see on this side you've got the Etindeka Mountains and you've got the mother rhino with her calf. And then on the reverse side we've got the serial number, you've got the Rand Refinery stamp, which is very important. Anywhere in the world people will recognize the stamp and they will know that this bar contains 99.99% gold.
It is gorgeous.
We wanted to make a biggest contribution. And at Ballowwood we see that as a way of giving back to the community.
Okay, so there you'll see the 500 gram bar.
Very special.
Feel the weight, it's incredible.
This opportunity which presented itself is absolutely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
We're privileged to have this.
This is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think this showcases really what the project is all about.
It's from 24 karat Namibian gold.
I'm looking at these rhinos is put there like
Miss World photogenic, I would say.
There are only 1,000 of these gold bars, rhino gold bars, in circulation.
As far as I'm aware, it's the largest single donation of any corporate to the conservation of biodiversity anywhere in Africa.
Therefore, we so much appreciate and would want to continue as a government to work with B2 Gold.
And the fact that it's happening here in Namibia is something that we can all be extremely proud about and very grateful to B2 Gold.
Thanks to having this literal pot of gold through the funding for the Rhino Gold Bar, we're able to step in now and make sure that those trackers are supported, and so are their families and their communities.
We make sure that people sustain their jobs going forward. And who doesn't want gold?
And the B2 Gold Rhino Gold Bar has come in at a really critical time now, particularly with tourism being closed off and those forms of revenue not coming in.
To say we have the biggest rhino population or black rhino population in the world, let it be for the rest of our lives. And it's that heritage that we have, it's our resource that we can all look after and protect.
It's our heritage. And it's also good that other people like B2 Gold are also seeing it that way.
It's actually a very nice link between the investor that buys this gold bar, the rhino tracker in the northwest of Namibia, and the black rhinos. It's an intergenerational thing. The rhino trackers teach their children how to track rhinos, their children get taught, and so it flows down.
This is something that I want my children to have, and that we leave a little bit of a B2 Gold legacy. And if I can be part of that as part of my family, I'd be very proud.
It can also become an inheritance for the generations of my own clan. My children, my grandchildren.
If we can bring that passion over to future generations and to hand that over to my children, and I hope that that same passion for conservation gets migrated over to my kids.
And what we've done together is create a sustainable source of funding that should outlive all of us.
You know, I think as far as B2 Gold is concerned, we couldn't have chosen a better target in which to put our efforts as far as the environmental and conservation pillar is concerned. And I want to stress there that the money that's going towards environment and conservation is actually going towards the people.
Rhino is for all of us, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Vancouver, whether you are in the US. If you really want to see conservation at play with rural communities, I therefore humbly request each and everyone to join us on our rhino tour and have a wonderful experience. This is what keeps rhinos on this planet.
I've done rhino trekking experience. It was just amazing walking in that landscape of the Kunene. And as we followed them, we could now find rhinos with the calf. We got the closest distance we could.
It's a warning sign.
And it was just amazing and lovely, something to experience that Namibia can offer. It's something that you have to do in your life.